Welcome, distinguished viewers, to the Age of Steel and Fire. At the A-80 military parade, Vietnam showcased a range of modern weapon systems, drawing the attention of the world. Yet what we saw was only the tip of the iceberg. Vietnam's defense tradition has always been discreet, and what is revealed publicly often represents just a fraction of its true capabilities. International experts believe that behind this display, Vietnam may have already achieved remarkable breakthroughs in weapons development. But today, Hector and Chronos will not focus on visible assets like tanks or missiles. Instead, we want to take you into a domain that few pay attention to, yet it defines the battlefield of the future: electronic warfare, electronic suppression, and long-range radar technology, the invisible eyes that dominate the skies. In an era where UAVs and artificial intelligence are rising to prominence, the development of electronic defense systems, surveillance radars, and electronic suppression capabilities is no longer optional, it is essential. Vietnam, with technological foundations inherited from Russia and strengthened by its own innovation, is emerging as one of the strongest nations in Southeast Asia in this critical field. To truly understand Vietnam's strength in this domain, we must first ask, what is electronic warfare? In modern warfare, victory is not decided solely by tanks, aircraft, or missiles. There exists an invisible battlefield, where electronic signals, radar waves, and communication systems themselves become weapons. Electronic warfare is divided into three main pillars. First, electronic attack, the art of jamming, disrupting, and blinding enemy radar, causing their aircraft or missiles to lose orientation. It is like switching off the lights in the sky. Second, electronic protection, safeguarding our own radar and communication systems against enemy interference. This is the invisible shield that ensures our forces maintain control of the battlefield. Third, electronic support, gathering signals, conducting electronic reconnaissance, detecting the enemy from afar. These are the invisible ears and eyes that allow commanders to understand the situation before the battle even begins. And within all these elements, long-range radar plays the role of the nation's divine eye. It can detect aircraft or missiles from hundreds, even thousands of kilometers away, and serves as the foundation for a comprehensive electronic defense system. To assess Vietnam's position in electronic warfare, start with what has been publicly shown, and more importantly, what has been hinted at beneath layers of secrecy. At Videx 2024, Viettel presented over 80 high-tech products across 10 domains: radar systems, electro-optics, electronic warfare, military communications, simulation training, command and control, UAVs, aerospace technology, cyber operations, and cybersecurity. This reveals a coherent ecosystem spanning electronics, radar, UAVs, rather than isolated capabilities. Another milestone came during the 80th anniversary parade, where Viettel showcased domestically developed platforms at Ba Dinh Square, from missile systems and radar to unmanned platforms. Beyond symbolism, this reflects integration capacity across the chain: sensing, signal processing, data links, and fire control, the backbone of modern EW. On the UAV axis, Vietnam emphasizes not only reconnaissance and strike, but also training and simulation to bring real battlefields into the training ground. The M400CT2 system serves as an aerial target simulation platform for air defense training under near operational conditions, enabling checks of radar performance, tracking, target lock, and electronic responses across diverse scenarios. This continues earlier UAV efforts and signals a long-term mindset, developing humans alongside systems. Electronic warfare is, in essence, seeing, hearing, speaking in an invisible battle space, see via radar and passive sensors, hear via ELINT/comment, and speak via jamming, deception, and suppression. Vietnam appears to be building capabilities along the chain. Long-range and multiband radar, combining active and passive sensing to detect across altitudes and frequencies, mitigating blind spots against low-flying or stealthy targets. Electronic support, ES/ELINT/comment, collect and analyze signals to build enemy. Electronic profiles. enabling real-time identification and classification. Electronic attack (EA), create electronic fog, jamming, deception, overloading or blinding radars/seekers, coupled with electronic protection (EP), to keep our eyes and ears intact. Command and control (C2), and data links, fuse data from ground, naval, air, and UV sensors into a common operational picture for fast, accurate decisions. Counter-UAV, detect, locate, suppress, from braking control links to GNSS interference, coordinated with short-range air defense. A crucial leap lies in digital signal processing and AI, advanced filtering, sensor fusion, time-frequency signature recognition, and behavior prediction. AI helps not only see farther and see clearer, but also react faster, proposing suppression tactics to bridge the time gap between detection and human decision. From a doctrinal view, Vietnam seems to favor a flexible defensive approach, rather than competing in platform counts, build deep sensor, control, suppression networks. As UAVs and cruise missiles proliferate, and air defense, EW mesh can soften long-range strikes, early detection, target dispersion, navigation interference, and peeling off drone swarms for layered defenses. Open-source signals suggest core defense enterprises are occupying critical links: radar, EOS/IR, EW, communications, simulation, C2, UAVs, and cyber. The standout is system integration, embedding each tech block into a unified architecture that turns data into advantage, and advantage into combat capability. This is the maturity metric in the age of electronic warfare. Looking 5 to 10 years ahead, likely trends include denser passive sensing to hear more, widespread adoption of reconfigurable digital radars, expanded counter-UAV capacity against small micro-drones, and AI moving from decision support to semi-autonomous EW at unit level. As these pieces converge, the electronic sky will be more than controlled. It will become an intelligent space, where every signal carries meaning, and every decision draws from a fused, real-time picture. When placing Vietnam within the Southeast Asian landscape, distinctions become clear. Regional powers such as Thailand, Malaysia, Indonesia, and the Philippines often emphasize visible assets: fighter jets, submarines, tanks. These are tangible symbols of military strength, yet they do not fully capture the essence of modern warfare. Vietnam, by contrast, has chosen a more discrete path, developing radar systems, electronic warfare, UAVs, and AI technologies. These domains are less publicized, but they determine battlefield control. Comparing across the region, Thailand invests heavily in air power, notably Gripen fighters and air defense, but EW capabilities remain limited and largely imported. There are rumors that Vietnam's long-range radars extend surveillance zones so wide that Thai aircraft are cautious when flying near Cambodian airspace. Yet these remain unverified speculations. Malaysia focuses on naval strength and submarines, but radar and EW systems are not fully integrated, relying on Western suppliers. Indonesia fields a large military force, but emphasizes quantity of platforms rather than advanced EW or long-range radar. Philippines depends on aid and partnerships, with EW capacity virtually undeveloped. Against this backdrop, Vietnam stands out with indigenous long-range radar, detecting targets hundreds of kilometers away. Some analysts suspect actual performance may exceed official figures. Electronic suppression systems, shielding airspace, blinding enemy radars. Analysts argue that if Vietnam publicly announced cruise missiles with 1,000 kilometers range, it implies radar and guidance networks of equal sophistication. UAVs and AI integration, not only for reconnaissance, but embedded into EW networks, creating multi-layered eyes and ears. System integration capacity, fusing radar, UAV, air defense, and EW into a unified network, a capability few regional peers possess. Thus, many observers consider Vietnam the strongest Southeast Asian nation in EW and radar. Yet it must be emphasized, part of these assessments rely on speculation, not confirmed data. This very secrecy adds to the mystery and intrigue surrounding Vietnam's true capabilities. To better understand Vietnam's electronic warfare strength, we must place it within the global context. Modern warfare is no longer just about tanks, warships, or aircraft. It is a contest of signals, data, and artificial intelligence. First, consider the battlefield in Ukraine. Here, UAVs and electronic warfare have reshaped the conflict. GPS jamming, communication disruption, and radar surveillance have often caused drones and cruise missiles to lose orientation. The lesson is clear: whoever controls the electronic sky controls the battlefield. Next, in the Middle East, Israel has demonstrated the role of electronic defense in protecting airspace. The Iron Dome relies not only on interceptor missiles, but also on radar and signal processing systems to classify and prioritize targets. This proves that radar and EW are the nation's invisible shield. At the superpower level, the United States and China are racing in AI and UAV development. The US integrates advanced EW systems into next-generation aircraft, while China invests heavily in long-range drones and digital radar networks. This rivalry highlights the trend: electronic warfare will be the decisive front of the 21st century. Within this global picture, Vietnam emerges as a nation moving in step with the world. Announcements of long-range cruise missiles, indigenous radar, UAVs, and jamming systems show that Vietnam is not merely following, but actively building capabilities aligned with global trends. Though much remains undisclosed, this very secrecy adds to the mystery and intrigue surrounding Vietnam's true strength. Throughout this journey, we have explored a domain rarely discussed, yet decisive in modern warfare: electronic warfare, electronic suppression, and long-range radar. Vietnam, with its discrete tradition and silent development strategy, has been building an invisible wall in the sky. This is not merely radar, UAVs, or jamming systems, but an entire electronic intelligence network where data and signals themselves become weapons. In the global context, from Ukraine to the Middle East, from the United States to China, the lesson is clear: whoever controls the electronic sky controls the battlefield. And Vietnam, with both its announced achievements and undisclosed capabilities, is emerging as the strongest Southeast Asian nation in this domain. Yet the big questions remain: can Vietnam become the leading hub of electronic warfare in the region, perhaps even reaching global stature? Are today's public displays merely the tip of the iceberg, with the true strength hidden beneath? Hector and Chronos leave these questions to you, our audience, our fellow enthusiasts of history and military affairs. Share your thoughts. Where does Vietnam stand on the global map of electronic warfare? And what will be its next step in the era of UAVs and AI?